Hello there and happy June. This is Sue from Miller's Laboratory. Hope everyone is doing well. Thank you for joining me. I am just going to flip through a journal that I'm putting in my Etsy shop this morning. It is a 50s themed journal and I just can't wait to show it to you. Kind of a new theme for me. I've never done this before, but I really had a lot of fun with it. So let me just kind of zoom in here a little bit, and you've got a sari silk ribbon here that's keeping the book closed, and I'm just going to go ahead and take that off and we'll go through the cover a little bit more thoroughly. Sorry I've been away for a while again. It's the same old stuff. My regular full-time job it is what it is. It's a necessary evil, so I'm not going to complain about it, but it does make it hard for me to do creative things. So I apologize for my absence, and I really appreciate you sticking with me. If you're new here, I'd love it if you'd subscribe to my channel. I do a lot of flip throughs, and I also do some how-to or some follow-along type videos. So subscribe so you can see what else I do. You can also like my shop or favorite my shop over on Etsy to see whenever I put a new product or a new book in my shop. So. All right, so I started with this 1957 Reader's Digest cover, and I actually took the spine off. I wanted to make the book a little bit narrower. I didn't want it to be quite so fat, so I redid the spine. On the cover here, I've got some old bark cloth, some old embroidery pieces. Look at that beautiful rose from an old doily, and this is some vintage fabric too, like a probably, I'm hoping from the 50s, but old anyway. The spine is reinforced with this really cool piece of upholstery fabric, which is not old, but I chose it because of the colors and because I liked the dots too. Polka dots were a popular pattern, maybe not on furniture, but popular in other things in the 50s, and I just liked the colors. And when I stitched the 3 signatures in, I avoided the dots. These dots are like super fuzzy. You'll have fun when you use the book because you can kind of do a little fidget rubbing on those. All right, but I used this sort of rose-colored waxed linen to stitch it, and I just skipped over the dots. So that's how I did that. I have a lot of really pretty tabby things sticking out the top, which I love to do, because it doesn't interfere with closing the book closed, but it gives you just a pretty extra edge up there to look at. So, and if you kind of look at this cover, it's sort of like I think it's sort of a Japanese looking watercolor type of a image. There's a place later in the book where I tried to kind of copy that, and I think I kind of sort of got it, but not really. But so I'll show you when we get there. All right, let's open it up. On the inside cover, I kept the original end paper, but I used the first page here to make a pocket so that you could write your name on the book and put other things in that pocket if you want to. This is just a little tag that I created with a paint chip. And this little image of a lady, sort of a fashion lady. I've used quite a few of those throughout the book. That's some images that I got from the public domain section of the New York Public Library, and some of them are printed larger like that and some are printed smaller. This is a print of a 1950s wallpaper. It's from a wallpaper book. I mean, I have a digital file of that, and so I printed out the front and the back. And then on this side I created a little corner pocket, and I've tucked in this little this is a authentic piece of ephemera. It's a receipt for $1 from 1952, and the name here is Irene Miengosz. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. It's M-I-E-G-O-C. It's a Polish name. If anybody out there is Polish and needs to correct my pronunciation, please do so. I did the best I could to try to find how to pronounce it. But I'm going to pause right there because I want to tell you a little bit more about Irene. I used a lot of ephemera in this book that came from a scrapbook that I purchased at an antique store here in Muskegon. And I'm just going to show you one of the pages from it. I have taken a little bit of stuff out from this page, but these are a couple of clippings that Irene put in. So these are pictures of her when she was young. And she was very socially active, active in her church. She was Catholic. And she got her Bachelor of Arts from Western Michigan University and also her master's from the University of Michigan. She traveled the world and she was a really interesting lady. She passed away in 2021 at the age of 97. I looked up her obituary online, so that's where I'm getting this information. I did not know her. I don't think she ever married. This was the picture that was included with her obituary. So she did arts and crafts throughout her life, and of course she had an art degree, so I like to think that because this fell into a stranger's hands, at least some of her mementos are being passed on and used in an artistic way. So I just wanted to let you know that. You'll see her name throughout the book in other places. This is just a digital print of some polka dots. This is from a 1957 telephone book that you could, or address book. And this is a digital of an old menu from the 50s. This page is from a 1957 photography magazine. And I loved that image. I made it into a flip here and added a little bit of, this is a digital print of some embroidery. And then in this I have tucked a little postcard, and this is authentic also from the 50s. There's a couple of these in the book. Apparently furniture stores would send these out to advertise, send them out to homes to advertise new things. And so this was an organ actually that you could purchase. And I just added a flower on there. None of these were used, so you can use them as journal cards in the book. Wow, I'll tuck that in there. I made it nice and snug so it wouldn't fall out. All right, on this side, you'll see the other side of the photography page. Just added a label there. And then this big tag, I used a digital and also a digital from a Sears catalog from 1957. So just added the flowers again in a tab. Lots of space to write on the back there. This is some vintage notebook paper here. Just a nice gingham, which is another pattern that they would have used commonly in that decade. This was from the scrapbook. This is a page, I think this is bowling, keeping track of bowling scores. And it has the date 1951 to 1952. And this is from a 1950s gardening book. This is a new digital that I printed. It's sort of a watercolory print, and I just thought the colors went perfectly with the cover and the rest of the book. So, some tea-dyed notebook paper, little side tuck here. Here's another one of those little fashion ladies I made into a journaling card. An old dictionary page. And here's an old page from a 1957 yearbook. I like to use those because I love the little quotes that they have. I think they're funny, and it's just interesting to see, like the glasses. I'm an optician, so I love to see the glasses that they wore. All right, here I have a little journal card just clipped in, and I've used this image. This is also from that Sears catalog, and a color sort of sample sheet. Again, those were both digitals. Just made that into a journal card. And then this envelope is stitched into the center of the signature. And this is an authentic greeting card that I purchased at an antique store from the 50s. It's your birthday, best wishes. Isn't that pretty? And the colors are so pretty. So you could do what you like with this, but you could journal with it. Even on the back, you could journal there. So, and I love the scalloped edge on it. It's pretty. I just used a vintage sort of paper clip here and added some silk ribbon embroidery ribbon there. Okay, on a bow. Okay. Forgive me, I haven't made a video in a while. I'm kind of tongue-tied. All right, another image from that catalog. So sometimes when I printed those out, I printed them on just like really regular old copy paper, nothing special, because I wanted it to kind of look like it was actually from catalog. They wouldn't have used the best paper or had the best quality of print, so I wanted that to look authentic. This is another postcard. This was from Irene's scrapbook of the Botsford Inn in Farmington, Michigan. And then this also was a card. There's her name again. And I just made that one into a folded journaling spot. This was her class reunion invitation for the class of 1942, and it was held on July 26, 1952. Isn't that cool? And I just added flowers there again to hinge it. Just a digital page there. We're kind of going back through and seeing the other half of the pages we've done so far. The other half of the bowling page. The notebook. Now here I kind of tipped in, the photography page was short, so I glued this in. This is something again from the scrapbook, and it's the Muskegon Tall Toppers. I couldn't find anything about that, some kind of a club or organization. I'm not sure what it was. It was the alumni dinner, and it was held in 1953. I just added the flower there. There's just some little poems in here and words to a song, which is really sweet. And if you wanted to, you could open this up and you could do journaling inside there. Okay, all right, and here's the other half of that menu, the address book, etc. And the wallpaper page. Here I used another one of these ladies, just attached her, and that's kind of an accordion page you can pull out and write. You could write in the lighter spots here too. Their wallpaper here, and just added some flowers there because it's kind of boring. It's all brown and black. This is an old receipt that I picked up in the UP a few years ago. It's from June of 1957. And here's another page from that photography magazine. Isn't she pretty? On the other side I've created a pocket. Look at that dude on the beach there. And this is another piece of ephemera from the scrapbook, Irene's scrapbook. This is from the CDA Officers Party, July 14th, 1954. It was held at this Prospect Point Hotel, and she kept this. I just love that she kept all of these things. This is in Spring Lake, and I did look that up to see if it was still around. It looks like it's some kind of a really high-end housing. You know, there's no more resort there. Just some pretty pink dyed paper. On this page I created a little pocket. So this page was a little narrower, and I just made the pocket go out a little farther and added a flower there. And this is another piece of ephemera, again from the scrapbook, and I just added this cutout from the catalog, the Sears catalog, and made that into a cute little tag. And a couple little short pages here. Another one of those watercolors. Here on this polka dot one, just to be a little different, I actually punched a little hole out and flipped it over and glued it on, so you have a little peekaboo there. You could put something on this page to correspond with that, like a photo or something if you wanted to. This is from an old 50s cookbook. And just some coffee dyed graph paper here. And another wallpaper where I added an extension here with digital prints of some embroidery. This page was a mimeographed paper also from the scrapbook, and this little card was in there. This is the Women's International Bowling Congress. That shows that she's a member of that, or an affiliate. And I just used that as a pocket, tucked in another one of these little paint chip tags in there. And then on this side, because that page was a little tall, I made a little flip up here using a couple images of those fashion ladies again. Now I know they didn't have CDs in the 50s, but I just wanted to use this envelope because of the big window pocket. I added a little flower there, and I just made a big tag again out of one of the pages from that Sears catalog that I printed out. I added a label and some vintage fabrics at the top there for a tab. And that was an index card, so nice to write on with all the lines. Just a little side tuck here, and these are images that I also printed out, added a flower to, and there's just plain paper on the back, but just some more of the decor of the 50s, which was fun. You probably have noticed by now I stayed away from like the super kitschy pinup and diner sort of stuff and the whole atomic, you know, boomerangs and all of that. I just kind of wanted a little bit quieter book. You know, I've seen lots of other ones that have that, and I think they're cute, but this one I wanted to kind of remember the cover and stay with that kind of theme. So now on this page we have some more of the coffee dyed, or the other half of the coffee dyed graph paper, but here I just split that flip and added a couple of these images again with a backing on them, so they flip individually and you can write on the back. And I like how they layer like that. I'm just flipping through the backs. On this page I hinged a page from a Milkman's Journal. This is actually a little older. This is from the 40s, but I still put it in there because I liked the colors and everything. And then this flips out. I used a little bit of vintage eyelet up there as a tab. And then you can just see these other half pages inside here. You could also fold it up like this. When I was putting it together, it kind of just went like that, and so I left it that way. But you can do it however you like. Here, the other half of the photography magazine page, and I've tucked this little season ticket she had for Kiwanis Travel and Adventure series, which I think is really neat, because as I told you, she did a lot of traveling, and she probably heard a lot about other people's travels. Maybe that inspired her. Here I used another catalog page, made another flip, and just have a backing on there that's easy to write on. Okay. Third signature. Okay, on this one, this flips out. I added this print of an embroidery, and then I also hinged this little spot here, so this opens up, and I added a folded page of pink onion skin paper, and that I just added a little paper ruffle on the edge of that too, so it just looks pretty. You can write on onion skin paper if you use the right kind of pen, and I think a ballpoint pen or a permanent pen works really well on that. Here's another page from the yearbook. The yearbook pages were actually old yearbooks that my mom gave me. They weren't, she wasn't a senior that year. I think they were her brother's or her sister's yearbooks that she gave me. And then here I just added this cute little tab with some pink paper and a couple little pink paper flowers. And I just really like how that looks from the outside, that you can see those there too. So I'm mindful of how the book looks. And I told you that I like to put the tabs and the sticky outy things on the top, because then you can still tie the book closed. You can also set it on a shelf then, and it's, you know, nothing, if you pushed it back in the shelf, it wouldn't be bumping up and getting bent on anything. This is some old, an an old, like a workbook page. It's probably older than the 50s too, but I liked the color, so I put it in. And here's another one of those furniture advertisement postcards I was talking about. Look at the pink and the aqua walls. It's so fun to see. This is an old typing page book, and another page from that photography magazine here. Isn't she something? And then on this side we have a just more coffee dyed lined paper, and I made a flip with, again, a cutout of this doily, an old doily. And then I just clipped this in here kind of as an afterthought, but this was another page from the front of the book, and I intended to use it like in a journal card, but I never did. And so I thought, well, I'll just stick it in there, and it's extra writing space for you. You could make a card, a journal card, or some tags out of it if you wanted to. So I just clipped that in there for you. This is from an old vintage 50s sewing book. And then this is embroidery pattern. This is not old, but it looks old. It's the type of thing that they did, so I included it. I made top tuck pockets here. So here is a giant journal card, kind of plain on the back. More images from the catalog, and then I added a peony there. And then I created an envelope in the middle of this signature out of a piece of a printout of that wallpaper from the wallpaper book. So this is a pretty cool thing here, again from Irene's scrapbook. This is from the Miss Michigan pageant in 1955, which the Miss Michigan pageant is always held in Muskegon. It has been for a really long time. And so this is something that she saved from that. When you open it up, you actually could kind of choose your choices as you were watching. I don't think she was an actual judge, but this was something they gave the people that attended. I thought that was really neat. All right, and then on this side, I glued on another of these little fashion lady images to kind of make this more of a corner pocket. And then another really neat piece of ephemera here. This is also something from Irene's scrapbook, Delegates Credentials for Representation in State Court of Michigan, 1952. Probably should have scanned that or something, but I didn't really feel comfortable scanning anything from that scrapbook because it's not old enough, so I don't know that it would be considered public domain, so I'm just passing it on to whoever purchases the book. All right, here I just made another little flip on this sewing page. Lots of writing spot there, and I liked just the color of that paper. It's not old. Tab here. Okay. All right, so this was just a half page, the other half of the photography magazine page. And I added on these two little Rolodex cards to make the page full size. I found out that the Rolodex was invented in the 50s, so even though these are not old, I thought it was appropriate to put that in. And I glued them on, and then it kind of looked really plain. So I got out my watercolors, and I sort of tried to paint the same pattern that's on the front cover. And I sort of did it. Mine's a little bit more awkward, but I did the best I could. So there it is, and added a label there and some red work from a red work pillowcase. This is the typing page. This is the other half of that business school workbook page, and here's another really pretty furniture postcard. Look at that ruffly curtain. Isn't that something? I'm trying to get it so there's no glare, but I think it's so cool. Here's a little side tuck where this was actually the shape of what was in her scrapbook. It's like a tag from something, a glad hand from the Muskegon Club, and this is from 1957. So obviously I added a flower and a little vintage fabric tab at the top. And then on this page I've used made a belly band, and this is just another one of those fashion ladies cut out. And then I used this little booklet made out of vellum with a Lily of the Valley image printed on it. So that's a good spot to write. And you can put this under the belly band however you want, but I kind of like to just put the vellum on the top so that you can kind of see the flower superimposed over the lady. This is from a Gwen Frostic book. I liked the color. It's not really that old. It's not as old as the 50s, but I liked the colors, so I included it. And this is just an image that I added in of this really fancy sort of accessories that you might wear if you were going somewhere fancy in the 50s. And then a pretty flower up there. And then here I made just a little corner tuck, added a little vintage fabric, and then one more postcard from our friend Irene's scrapbook here, the Airport Motel in Chicago. We just have the last page here. I've left this blank. You could definitely add a pocket there or something if you wanted to. And then there's my label and the date. So thank you for watching. I hope that you enjoyed looking through this book with me. And if you're interested in purchasing it, as of right now, it is available in my Etsy shop. I hope to be back soon with more. I really appreciate every one of you that watch me and like my videos and follow me. So thank you again. Have a wonderful weekend. Have a wonderful June and take care. Bye-bye.